Well, hot diggity dog. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Jacob Wild, too.
And folks, every great show comes to one particular episode in its run that we all look to and we're like, oh, they've gotten there. They've reached the heights. They've made it to the big leagues now. And folks, it's with great pleasure in this interdimensional cable of it all to announce that we finally got in the vat of episode, the vat of acid episode of Rick and Morty, guys. Oh my God, the vat of acid episode. It's what we've always dreamed about, guys. It's a TV staple.
Oh yeah.
All right. In all seriousness, guys, let's just set the stage here. So Rick and Morty, of course, through season 3 and most of season 4, the first half, we've been pretty let down apart from 1 or 2 episodes here and there. Am I right about that? Like, it's not been terrible, but it's just not really been up to the same level as the first couple seasons.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much how he felt about it.
And then along comes the second half of season 4 after a hiatus. And guys, I got to tell you, this is the third one in a row that they really just hit right out of the park. I'm not sure how you guys feel about the Vat of Acid episode, and I frankly think that probably out of the 3 of them that we've gotten so far, it's probably the number 3 out of 3. But I still think this is a damn good episode, and it's continuing on that trajectory. And I think if the next 2 episodes are as strong as this one is, then we might be looking at the best run of episodes since season 2. What do you guys think?
Dragon?
Jacob?
Oh. I guess technically you spoke first. So, like I said, I kind of agree with T. This is probably not as. I don't think this is just nearly as good as, especially last week's episode. It still has its moments. I still think it's better than a lot of the first half of season 4, but of the second batch, it's not my favorite right now, as of right now, anyway.
All right, Dragon.
I love this episode, man. I thought this was
nice,
great.
nice.
That's the thing. Again, you're absolutely right. So the second half so far has been really looking up. Again, honestly, this one, I feel with the last 2 episodes we've gotten, those 2 have been my favorites so far this season. They kind of seem to be in line with what I liked when we came back for season 4 period. The first episode of season 4, the whole, the death crystals of it all. This is kind of that's kind of my signature for season 4. It's kind of my barometer. Outside of that episode, we've been getting some really good moments in the episodes that follow, of course, the toilet of it all. That's what I'm saying. We've had these kind of highlights within episodes, but again, kind of a start to finish, solid episode. Second half's been really delivering. And I don't know if I like this more than Primordius, but I got to tell you, this is a really good one. It might be my favorite this season. I know I said it last week, but still, this is a really good one for me. I really liked it. It was another solid one. I love the structure. Again, different from last week's. Last week kind of shook up the 3-act structure of it all, but this one, again, I really like the construction around kind of the opening joke and just kind of it's really going for it and bringing it on home. That's what I'm saying. I got a lot of love for the way this one turned out.
Speaking of the opening joke, I was almost half expecting them just to spend the entire 20 minutes in the acid listening.
I know, me too. Initially, again, I don't put it beyond them. They could have made that work, but still, it went even better. But it went far escaping than it ended up going. It was
okay, and that's the thing that I love about this episode is that I feel like this episode was just constantly shifting directions in a really smart way, because we start out with the Vat of Acid episode, and the episode is literally called the Vat of Acid episode.
I wish they just keep this up with the episodes, because it's just so tiring, all this whole Primordius and everything.
I agree.
That's how they think of it in the writer's room anyway.
Like I said, it's like that. I was just that they finally came up with an episode title that, and they're so proud of it, they even put it underneath the episode, the series title after the opening right. was over. It's like yeah, we finally came up with an episode that doesn't involve either of their names.
Yep.
So I was fully expecting when we were getting those few minutes of them spying on the on the deal that was going down. I was fully expecting it to be all Like at first I was like, oh my god, are they gonna pull like a BoJack and do like an all silent episode where Rick and Morty are silent the whole time? I don't know. My expectations just kept shifting around, and then of course they get out of the situation, and they are then they get into, and Dragon. One of the things I love about this episode is how it carries over from the last episode, because you know how the last episode we had that little moment with Rick and Morty where it's like, oh, you're good, pal. You just need to communicate with me more. Yeah, I know, Morty. I need to learn to do that.
The little tease at it, and then of course like heartwarming moment, and then not really.
And of course, Rick completely throws all that out the window by the end of the episode.
Oh god, it's just fantastic, and this is like one of those slow burn kind of Rick episodes. We saw what he did if someone uses his bathroom. Now we see what happens if you make fun of him. It's just, well, I mean, we kind of glimpsed it before the whole Morty's mind blowers of it all. This is like taking it next level.
It doesn't even matter if you're like his family or if you're his grandson or anything like that. If you make fun of his jokes, he will ruin your life.
That he will.
Well, no,
or at least they'll give you.
Not only that, it's not even making fun of the jokes. It's questioning his intelligence, like outright, because Morty is like basically saying that this, what is this vat of acid, Rick? Are you going senile? And it does seem like it's kind of a bad situation at first. Kind of a bad idea, but then of course, we circle back around to it. But yeah, like you said, Dragon, just do not piss off Rick Sanchez. Do not cross him in any way, shape, or form, essentially. He's like the new Eric Cartman.
Even if you're his family, he will ruin your life.
He will. So let me tell you, here's what I really loved about the vat of acid thing. See, I was actually in favor of the vat of acid plan. I thought it was quite a good plan, but here's the thing.
I do too. I think it's a really good plan.
Yeah, but here's my read on it was...
In my opinion, you can't really argue with Morty's feelings on it, though. It's like, because compared to all the other stuff Rick has done, it is kind of on the bottom tier.
But again, it's like the ingenuity of it. Again, like sometimes less is more. But that said, what I loved about it, though, is that, again, there's a little bit of gray area where, again, planned, geniusly concocted, the whole, like, all the preparations, like the air machine, the eavesdropper, a little laser for the ladle, specifically for the ladle test. All that.
Oh, the ladle test is great. Yeah, that's
all the preparations and the contingencies you concocted there. That's great. But again, I love there was just this one variable, this one small variable that Rick overlooked that kind of plays in the Morty side of the argument here. That's like, well, what if they don't leave though? What if they take forever to leave? And again, that's the thing. I think that's the one thing where he just knows Morty kind of has a point with that one, but is the one thing I didn't consider. But I'll never admit that was the one flaw in my plan. Therefore, he's just sticking by it. You never argue with a vat of acid, Morty. Never. So never cop to him, the genius that is Rick Sanchez, making an oversight like that when he's just so vehemently defending the acid plan, the fake vat of acid, which again also, oddly enough, is in the opening of Harley Quinn, the first episode of that series too. Is a fake vat of acid gag in that too. It was hilarious.
Right, I'm immune to acid.
And then this also brings up the kind of breaking the fourth wall of like getting into like why the first half of season 4 didn't work, which I really appreciate.
Which was good.
Game of Thrones, Morty, really on the money there, pal. Really striking the iron while it's hot.
Also, throwing a little bit of Pickle Rick in there, like saying, yeah, I know Pickle Rick, it's a big thing. Seemed like a bad idea, but it had longevity.
That was fun.
I mean, I like that episode and all, but honestly, and Rick, that wasn't one of his better ideas.
Yeah,
it really wasn't, man. It really wasn't. It was probably like I would say Pickle Rick is probably one of Rick's low tier ideas, honestly.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't really get him out of therapy, so it really backfired on him. So this idea on his end.
I mean, like I said, I like the episode and all, but it's like you didn't really think that through. Yeah, at least you could at least made the pickle with arms to begin with.
Yeah,
right.
I'm a pickle.
I mean, but though I do agree, like compared to the pickle, this actually is a better idea.
Sure. Yeah.
Of course, I love that they kind of concocted this idea through just sort of let's just take the basic kind of trope of like setting at a chemical plant and kind of an acid factory. Basically, the idea like people do that for like a really good design sense. Like, what if it was actually used like an escape plan? So it's really it's a fun little like what if what if we gave a purpose to the acid setting? What if someone had a little escape plan built into like the fake acid?
Dragon, could you picture Batman and or the Joker concocting something like this?
I don't
Like
really
the
have to
Joker
do because
having a
again, I've
little
seen it
fake
with
vat
Harley
of
Quinn.
acid?
I've seen him do that already.
Oh, right,
That's what I'm
right.
saying.
It'd be kind of funny if that's what actually what happened.
Well, it would explain how Joker survived, but then again, the whole complexion thing. Anyway, it was semantics.
It was more I think it was. I think in his case, it's more chemicals rather than acid.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's Ace Chemicals, not just Ace Acid Plant. But he's also the point. I think he simplifies it with acid. But yeah, let's not be hung up on semantics.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
All right, guys. So the episode we've been talking for like 10 minutes about the vat of acid itself. But
to be fair, it is in the episode's title.
No, you're right. You're right. But the meat of the episode really is in the the click of it all.
Yes. Or again, on the rewatch, I knew they said this in the first watch, but it didn't really dawn on me. Oh, that's what he meant. The whole Futurama kind of reference of it all. Of course, last episode of Futurama, they kind of played around with something very similar to this, kind of a 10-second do-over.
Meanwhile?
In this case.
You mean Meanwhile?
Yeah, Meanwhile, yeah.
All right. Good episode.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't realize it was. He just kind of named dropped Futurama. I was like, I wonder what episode it was. I realized I felt like it's so stupid on the rewatch. Like, it was the Meanwhile episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Rick Sanchez always adamantly against time travel. You're kind of almost spitting in his face when you suggest time travel.
Of course, like kind of the provisos that they can't really say. Well, I mean, they could if they wanted to. If they want to be all fourth wall-y and meta, but I think can improvise us. We don't want to rip off Back to the Future. Therefore, no time travel in Rick and Morty.
Right. Well, I mean, also, I do kind of agree with them that time. In addition to the Back to the Future thing, I think time travel just in general can get overly messy pretty easily.
And again, it's kind of the bylaws of Rick and Morty outside the whole like we don't want to be compared to those guys. But more accurately, it's the fact that Rick and Morty's all about living in the consequences and all about like we don't just go back to status quo. We go back to status quo with a little bit of a little PTSD in the corner, if you will. We went through something. Sure. We're not forgetting it, even though if we forget about it, you're going to know about it. It's that sort of thing. No amnesia rate.
Or bring it up seasons later and claim to make a connection to it.
Exactly. So I love that. So basically, I love that Rick just built this out of spite and to also on the slide kind of serve his greater "I told you so" kind of with the acid.
That's basically all this episode. Is like basically Rick going, "Ha ha, I told you so."
Pretty much.
Yeah, but again, I love
which is like the fourth time he's done that this season.
Again, like Tiki said last episode, again, you have like this really kind of hallmarky, like best grandpa ever moment. We're like, hey, do you want to know how I just love how lighthearted it is, but then again, it really has dramatic stakes for the third act. Which is, hey, do you want to just talk about the science of it? Want me to explain the boring science of it all, or do you want to just have fun? Like, oh, you're the greatest grandpa ever. It's all I
want to have fun, greatest grandpa ever.
Like it's adorable, and again, we couldn't. If it were any other show, we could have left it there. But Rick and Morty, we can't just leave it there.
It's actually good. That thought process is actually kind of similar to the heist, to the way the heist episode worked out.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Then we get the. Sorry, Jacob, go ahead.
I was just gonna basically say like make Morty think it's something cool, then basically turn it on its head, is like make him realize it was terrible.
Yeah, with the whole with the screenplay of it all. Yeah.
All right, so then we get what I like to call the raindrops are falling on my head montage.
I thought it was a nice sequence and all, but the entire time I was watching, I was like, something bad's gonna happen, isn't it?
And it does, and it's pretty damn. I wrote it down in my notes as like. It's like Tim Burton's Up.
See, I was going to compare it to Up instead of the raindrops fall on my head thing, but but Tim Burton's Up is a very apt. It's very apt version of that.
Well, it starts with raindrops are falling on my head. Just kind of like, oh boy, everything's going right for me. And then it kind of just ends up at like the Tim Burton Up of it all. Just like, oh god, this is Up gone horribly wrong.
Basically, Tim Burton infusing.
Yet still somehow uplifting at the end, like Tim Burton movies tend to be.
True. Of course, I love like before we get to the big kind of the up of it all here. I love with the rate, I guess the Burt Bacharach of it all, if you will. So I love that. Jessica, of course, Morty kind of plays it cool. And of course, the secret to women, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. You either have women just let's see. Women like deep down, like some women like to be treated like crap. Apparently, that's what wins them over. So it's like, just, oh yeah, you whatever your name is, yeah, sure, see you around.
Which really isn't that good of a lesson to teach.
Yeah. And of course, we have like the very optimistic. You hold the door open for a woman. You know what? There's an in for a meaningful relationship. See, we cover both ends of the gambit, though. We cover both. Not every woman's alike. It's not a grand sweeping negative lesson there.
I like that. I like that girl he met, though.
I know, me too. She doesn't say. We don't hear a word from her, but we like her.
Yeah, I got really swept up in it. It was very, very.
I mean, that's what I was saying. It's like that's when I was like thinking, oh no, things are going right. What, like, how is she gonna die or something like that?
Of course, throughout the whole thing, I'm thinking like, oh, he's not hitting the button. He's not hitting the button. He's not hitting the button.
Okay, Dragon. I'm just going to say one word, and I want you to tell me how you reacted to it. All right.
Okay.
Fingers.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, that whole.
Yeah, the fingers when he was trying to hit the buttons on the phone. Oh my god! Oh,
yeah, I kind of almost gagged at that.
That was honestly maybe one of the most brutal things. Like that to me, it's like Pickle Rick is like, sure, it's excessive violence, but that is like realistic gore, man. Oh god.
Yeah, it's like on the second impression of like the 1 in 911. That's the god. That's like
right.
Yeah, man, never get frozen, kids. Never unless you're being frozen by like a Mr. Freeze. Someone knows what they're doing. Never just go.
Or unless you're Christopher Lloyd, then it's fine.
I was frozen today.
Precisely. Yeah.
It's like speaking of Back to the Future.
Frostbite is not a joking matter, kids. Don't let Adam Sandler fool you. Frostbite ain't funny.
I mean, seriously, like, not even the frostbite, but just the gore and, like, the eating of the cannibalism of it all, the forced cannibalism. It's just, it's all very upsetting in that little Donner Party sequence we get.
Yeah, and I was like, instead of, it's like, things were going well, so he didn't reset it, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then, then the whole phone thing, I was like, oh God.
I had an idea for a really dumb joke. If there was like a cutaway gag or something, like not for Rick and Morty's period. What if you had like, this is worse than the Donner Party, and of course we see like a Richard Donner Superman party, in which then the Donner Party breaks out.
It's the Donner wrap-up party.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. The Donner Rap Party. There we go. That's.
Oh God.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah. So speaking of which, seriously, that was one of the genius strokes of the episodes. The idea we keep it going again, kind of turn like we think about it, we do a double montage. You know how rarely in life that ever works. We do a double montage because we have a montage within our montage. It just turns in this giant, like, kind of beautiful up-like sequence that then turns really dark into the Tim Burton-y side of things, where, oh god, and it's like the button disappears, and we're still going, man. We're still going in this nightmare plane crash situation, and then of course we even save them. We just keep it going. Okay, well, we haven't pushed the save button. When is that button going to be pushed? And they're teasing every time you think it's going to happen. It's not happening. Then stupid Jerry pushes the wrong button. Doesn't even look before he pushes a button.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because that was like literally Jerry's one contribution to the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it just because I think it's in Dragon. This is the difference between you and me when it comes to Jerry. All right, like that might be like an idiotic, totally dumb move, like usual for Jerry. But Dragon, that writing is so on brand for the character. Like, of course, Jerry would be the one to fuck it up. I actually legitimately really appreciated that gag.
Yep.
What do you think, Dragon? Or Jacob?
Well,
what do you think, Jacob?
Oh, go on. Yes, Kim. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't personally mind it. I mean, I thought it was in character. And to be fair, Rick kind of designed it to look like a universal remote. So I can honestly see where he'd get kind of confused by it.
But still, doesn't anyone look before? It's only 2 buttons on a remote versus a TV remote. How is that? How hard is that?
Folks, just basically, Dragon just doesn't accept the character writing for Jerry.
Look. Again, I will say in this case,
I'm just kidding, Dragon. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, in this case, it is on brand for sure. I mean, again, it's on brand. If you see Jerry being the punchline, this is how you write that punchline character. But that's what I'm saying. It's like every time Jerry's just like he's not a character; he's a punchline.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when you give him stuff like the bees, it makes him more of a character.
Yeah. Oh, I found out they delete like a whole bunch of Beast stuff for Jared. That's
Oh,
why it's just
God.
like kind of that's why they ended up just having okay, well he's in the Bees now. We just don't really talk about it because we ran out of it was going to be like a whole Bee story. One could say, but no, it's just,
So it basically became an end credit gag.
pretty much.
Oh, God. Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
that's. I mean, God, that whole thing, the montage instead of a montage, is just honestly probably one of the most ambitious sequences in the last couple seasons for this show. You guys agree?
Yes.
I mean, very
This-
rarely. I mean, very rarely do you go here like 5 seconds without hearing Justin Roiland talk. So, or anybody talk for that matter. So it's kind of an interesting change of pace to say like an entirely musically driven sequence.
This is the next level that's more my speed versus the story train of it all. The story train again, good stuff, but it's a lot action. It's maybe a little too heady. This is like just the right amount of heady. This in the last episode. That's what I'm talking. This is my speed, like Rick and Morty headiness.
I hear you.
I still honestly like. I think the last episode balanced it out better, but this episode is still very well.
Sure. Also, by the way, just because it's funny, Heroin Keith. Just want to throw that in there.
Erwin Keith, yes, I'm glad you mentioned that.
I don't pay you for your friendship, Heroin Keith.
Heroin Keith needs to be the roommate of Felony Carl.
Oh God! Well, it's it'd be like that's a weird season of Friends where Joey and Chandler were on the outs, and they brought in like the guy from Saving Private Ryan. They brought him in there.
Oh God!
The other Adam Goldberg, like not the beloved Goldberg show, but I mean there's like another Adam Goldberg, and that guy.
Right.
Is the weird. The point is a weird roommate that made everyone uncomfortable. That's Heroin Keith.
Okay,
In
Dragon.
that fictional sitcom that's never
good
going to
long con of an analogy, Dragon. All right. I think we've pretty much covered.
Missing
and then,
something
of
really
course,
important.
Well, we pretty much
What
covered
are we missing?
Yeah, except for the twist.
Yeah, the whole prestige thing.
course.
We got to talk about the prestige of it all, man.
I prestige your ass, Morty.
Oh,
Prestige, bitch.
So funny.
I've never seen that movie actually, so I
Really good.
Dragon, would you like to do the honors of explaining the prestige of it all?
Well, I don't want to spoil it for him, but then again, I mean, I'm kind of in a position where, like, what do we do? What do I tell him?
I feel like the episode itself kind of spoils it, to tell you the truth.
The point being, there is a magic trick that involves a number of duplications with very horrific realizations.
all right, I can live with that. I mean, I'm not really averse to spoilers like Monkey is.
Well, trust me,
Well,
Prestige is something really good. It's like one of Nolan's best, man. You should check it out.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Hey, well, it can't be worse than Dunkirk.
Wait, did you say it can't be worse than Dunkirk?
Well, I mean, all of his films are good, but I'm just saying Dunkirk's not.
Okay, that's an entirely different conversation we need to have later, Jacob. Dunkirk is one of my favorite Nolan movies. Subjectivity, Steven. All right. Anyways, I digress.
Dunkirk.
I
was gonna get it in there. It's kind of a quota thing. Anyway,
it's still better than The Terminal, though.
Hey.
Okay. I'll actually make another Nolan comparison that might piss Dragon off, although he probably agrees with this. Dragon, do you think that Dunkirk is better than The Dark Knight Rises?
Oh, come on, don't put me in that position. Let's just.
All right, fine, fair enough.
Sorry for my joke.
Anyway, so point being, Morty has prestiged himself. Basically, it's kind of a cautionary tale about the unique consequences to your actions, and then kind of Rick interjects with, "Oh no, your actions did have consequences." Again, I don't like time travel.
I love that. Yeah,
it's kind of rich coming from somebody who never suffers consequences for his actions.
Well, maybe it depends. You know, it's funny. Now you mentioned it, given this episode, it's like, well, technically, I guess he's suffered consequences. He just doesn't care about the consequences. For Morty here, his undoing is that he cared about the consequence. It was like this thing I had while I was watching the episode. Well, at this point, after you've prestiged yourself so many times, and basically now you're informed. Now you know. Now you can't play naive. Or okay, you've done it. Basically, you're in a position. Do you become Rick, or do you try to remain Morty, even though it's impossible? Where you've killed all those other Mortys in messing around. You just didn't know about it. You were naive, but now you know. And like, at this point, after that many Mortys, do you really feel that guilty? It's like, I mean, basically it's yourself. So you're really only hurting yourself in that regard, but still, so you'll be fine, though. That's the thing. Is it really that big a deal? But then again, Morty's trying to cling on to humanity. So, you know.
I just kind of realized though Rick kind of actually used that thing himself in the beginning of the episode too. So
yeah,
he actually also killed a Rick. If you think,
yeah, he has no qualms. Like, you saw how many times he killed himself in the start of the season. He has no problems with death.
Well, yeah, that actually.
There's a whole citadel of them. He's killed many of himself.
Well, yeah, that actually, yeah. Now that you mentioned it, that actually is a very good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, so then Morty, of course, is all after he's all kind of fused together. Basically, we kind of stop the whole it's almost like a multiverse effect, basically copy of a copy sort of thing. And after he's all basically one Morty bears all the blame for all the stuff that he did, which of course brings down the heat of everyone he ticked off in that montage. It's like
the NAACP.
Okay, that one cracked me up. Here's a more. Rick's like, wait, the AARP, basically.
I don't want to talk about it.
But to me, my theory is the NAACP was because he pantsed the math teacher. I'm convinced that's what that one is.
Well, I mean, it could have been something. One of the other countless things he did.
It could have. I'm just saying, if you want to kind of tie together something really silly, I mean, that'd be.
But then, how does he? I really want to know how he got the AARP to go on his.
Well, I think it was for the old man. That's what my assumption was, but I could be wrong. But then again, it was either that or the driving.
Well, I mean, still, the fact that these kind of peaceful societies are kind of organizations want to. And
somehow Gamergate. I don't even know how that works.
basically everybody wants Morty dead except for the girl.
Yeah, but I felt so bad. That was the biggest punch in the gut after that up sequence where we just had the whole he fell and he got mace in the eyes and now he has to repeat the macing of the eyes every time he wants to restart.
That was brutal, yeah.
Oh god, that was tragic. All right, let's see. So then, of course, point being, all the heat's down on Morty. Like the cops, hey, suicide by cop. Okay, in our books, as we saw earlier. Again, cops love suicide by cop in the Rick and Morty universe.
Kiss the vat.
Yep. So, kiss the vat. Oh god. So the acid escape is back on the table, and I love on the rewatch. I caught this. This really hilarious moment that really pays off with this whole acid reveal. Is that. Morty, while he's spiraling with all the dead Mortys and everything, he's saying, wait, is this about the VADs? No, it's not about the VADs. Rick just being very placating him says, no, not about the VAD. Of course, complete BS, as we find here. Is like he had a vat in waiting for the escape to prove his point. He's gonna really rub the dirt in the wound. He dives in the vat, and I love that this time it's like, okay, he tries to get people to disperse, so just to prove his point from earlier. Okay, I overlooked that one part. I'm gonna make sure I clear him out this time, so I'm still right.
Except it wouldn't happen if he wasn't inside the vat, though.
Yep.
It would be interesting to see if Rick would realize the flaw in his plan, but Rick obviously can't do that.
Of course.
Oh god, and then the ladle thing goes awry.
I'm impervious to acid. Eat my ass.
I love Rick's response. That guy might have had some other problems beforehand.
I might have had some other things going on.
Yeah.
That I could definitely agree with.
So I love the alternate universe thing, because the alternate universe thing kind of coats the episode a little bit of ambiguity of how much of this was genuine or not with what Morty did here, because basically it all happened within an alternate universe. I think the same lesson transfers. I'm just saying within all of this, Rick reveals, oh yeah, we were in an alternate universe during all this time anyway, and in this alternate universe, it's an awesome one. He's going to miss because there's no 9/11. Johnny Carson's still in there, which I love the idea of. And Rocky Road ice cream has peanut butter instead of marshmallows. All that.
I don't love the idea. I agree with Morty about that.
But marshmallows are the best part.
You know what? Replace the peanut butter. Replace the nuts with peanut butter. Then you're talking.
Well, that's what I think.
Peanut butter and marshmallow ice cream.
I can only assume that he means actual peanut butter. I don't think he means peanuts. Otherwise, that defeats peanut butter.
Well, no, I'm just saying there's other nuts in Rocky Road, right?
I'm not sure. I don't really go for the Rocky Road. Jacob, do you know?
I mean, I mean, believe it or not, though, I did used to work at an ice cream place. I really don't know the contents of Rocky Road.
Oh, come on, guys. I'm pretty sure. Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, it's fine. Look, okay, I assume that you're right on this, Tiki. I'm genuinely curious. I have no idea. All right.
I'm pretty sure that Rocky Road is like a combination of like almonds and marshmallows.
Okay, so I usually see as like, it's kind of the chocolate one, isn't it? Just the chocolate with the crap in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually composed of chocolate ice cream, nuts, and whole or diced marshmallows.
There you go.
Yeah, nuts.
Right.
Nuts. Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah,
Okay, so of course we have a post-credit scene with the acid guy, and it's just
okay, that made me laugh just because of how slow it was and how long, how drawn out it was.
I felt so bad for Carson because while he wanted to be alive and still be on the Tonight Show, and you realize, oh, guys, he might really hate life if he's never died. And he just was like on today from thing because he was getting up there by the end. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just still like being stuck on the Tonight Show, and of course Maurice LaMarche doing his Johnny Carson impression too. I love we had Ed McMahon went with the whole mile and just like giving the guys sass. A lot of fun.
I think I'm curious. Though, like, are bones really not able to dissolve in acid? That's what I'm just curious about.
I think it was just for an aesthetic thing. I think it depends on the strength of the acid. Like certain acids will do the whole job. Some acids will just like eat the meat and they'll leave the bones. Like per like kind of the cartoon logic. Like you throw you prove this guy's got acid or piranhas or something. You throw in like a giant meat on a stick. You throw it like meat on a bone. The meat gets eaten. The bone remains.
I know the show doesn't really. I mean, sometimes it's scientifically accurate, but not always. But
sure. I mean, again, it depends on the acid. You want to prove it's going without having to dig through the thing. I mean, bones or some residue is going to be there, I guess. I don't know.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just basically heated up Mountain Dew anyway, so it doesn't really...
Yeah, sure, exactly. So I love that. Overall, the theme of this episode, I love that the core of the episode is Grandpa trying to impress the grandson. If you look at the very beginning of the episode, remember, it's just this little inane bit, but I love it, where Rick has auto park on a spaceship. And he's just showing off like, hey, what do you think? I thought it was cool. And again, throughout that's like, hey, vat of acid, pretty cool, right? And just again, it's just kind of failing on all sides. There's basically Grandpa trying to impress the grandson, just kind of went horribly awry.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like basically the entire episode is like, be impressed by me, Morty, or else.
Yep.
God.
I would be impressed by the auto park alone, but then the acids, that's even cooler. But it's...
All right, guys. So, final thought.
Like, be impressed by me, Morty. Damn it. Yeah, like I said, it's definitely a strong episode. Don't get me wrong. It's like probably not my favorite of this season. I still think probably I might have to rewatch them, but probably Primordius is probably my favorite. Doing like balancing the high concept, but keeping it grounded. Having both best of both worlds essentially, but I like the ambition this episode kind of had, despite it's kind of like the interesting nature of the concept itself.
Yeah, I'm still head over heels for it. I think it's we're just kind of a string of good ones right now. This and Primordius, they've been very funny, been very on point. Again, they're not shooting for the moon, but by the same token, we're not trying to be trendy like Game of Thronesy. It's all very, we're not just taking a simple gimmick and just kind of running with it. We're kind of going a little broader with it, with a little bit of story context there. Like particularly, we take like a Starro ID and like, okay, what if we look from different perspectives of the Starro? And here, where it's like, okay, what if we just kind of took the acid's a purely an aesthetic thing, but it leads to kind of like the consequences of mad science, and like we want consequence-free life. It ain't going to happen. So some interesting ideas that are being kind of expressed in kind of a fun way, storytelling wise. So it's been another good one.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I think that Primordius is my favorite as well. I think that one just really towed the line between, being really thought-provoking and funny at the same time. But this one did definitely have its thought-provoking moments, for sure. It's just like, at the end of the day, it does kind of boil down to like almost like an elaborate moral. It is funny though. I do love the lengths that Rick Sanchez goes to in this episode. That's always fun to see with his character. And like I said, guys, if the penultimate episode and the finale live up to these last three, I think it's safe to say that this run is going to be the best run since season 2. I mean, I really think that we've gotten 3 really great episodes so far in a row.
I mean, I can attest to that.
All right. Okay, guys, let's see. Here's what's going on this week. We've got, of course, the Just Giggle It grab bag coming up on Tuesday. Another installment in the animation vacation is probably going to be happening. Of course, some Imagineering stuff as well. Dragon, help me out. What else are we doing?
Well, I mean, at some point this week, we'll have another edition of Plus and Us about the prop culture show on Disney.
Sure.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
And then, of course, we'll be back next Monday to talk about another episode of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are awesome, and I will see you all later. Have a good night.
Kiss the vat.
Advice and Morty.
Kiss it, Morty.